In today's mental health check, we love our friends, right? But there's always that one friend who can't seem to stop talking about themselves and their problems. Being the friend that others constantly lean on can feel draining as well. It's something that The Atlantic's James Parker tackles in this Dear James column. It says, quote, "My sad, sad friend talks only about herself. I want to be there for her, but it's exhausting." Joining us now is family and clinical psychologist Jennifer Hartstein is with us. It's good to see you.
It's nice to be here.
Happy Friday to you. So there's actually a term for this, right? For people who are sort of self-centered in conversation. It's called conversational self focus.
Yes.
What does that mean, and why do people do it?
So what it means is literally that they're focused only on themselves, right? They can't get out of their own way. They can't talk about you. They can't keep that thread. They kind of keep getting distracted and bringing it back to themselves, even when you are talking about yourself. And there is a lot of risk in relationships, right? If I can't get a word in edgewise, I don't really want to talk to you. So it's going to push me away. It's going to maybe, I don't have any empathy for you. And it creates more distance when really what we want is closeness.
Yeah, and it can be a drain, as we said in the lead there.
Absolutely.
It can be a drain on someone who's on the receiving side of all the
Yes.
me talk. How do you manage that part if you're that person?
So it's really hard, right? But I think that, and you and I've had these conversations about this before, but one of the main things we have to do is set some boundaries, right? And we actually have to be willing to have a direct conversation with that friend and say, hey, this is really hard for me, and this is what I need from you. And I might need to find some compassion. Maybe you're struggling. Maybe there's really something going on for you that you need it to be about you, and maybe I need to find that compassion. But if it's not about that, and this is an ongoing thing, I need to just tell you how I'm feeling. And if maybe it's something that happens in a couple, maybe we should go find some professional help to talk to somebody about it together.
Just to go back a step, I mean, some of this you just mentioned could be driven by underlying things, right? Maybe the person is having anxiety or depression, or what else?
So it can be anxiety, it can be depression. Maybe I'm not picking up on social cues. Maybe I'm actually not really paying attention to you while you're talking to me. So I'm just kind of like, blah, 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 you know, and kind of what I like to call like having a little bit of verbal diarrhea, right? And I'm just letting it all hang out. And maybe I don't feel so good about myself. Maybe my self-esteem isn't so great. So I feel like I need to fill the air. The silence is too hard for me.
It's interesting when you point that out, because then it makes you feel a little more compassionate toward that person. Like maybe it's something deeper that's going on and you need to ask some questions.
100%. I think it's about inserting yourself and asking the questions. But I also think it's like, if it's so ongoing that this is just what your friendship is based on, you need to reevaluate that a little bit and be able to talk to that friend about it.
Yeah. Is there ever a point when you just stop being a friend because you can't deal with that?
Well, I know that's a really hard question. And yes, right? You have to protect yourself at the end of the day. So if that friend is just draining you, if they become like that energy vampire,
maybe
we might need to just say, this isn't a good friendship for me.
What if you're watching out there right now and you're thinking, oh my gosh, actually this sounds a little bit like things I do. Like maybe somebody is realizing that they're talking too much about themselves. How can they back away?
It's important, and that insight is the first thing we need. So things we want to think about, kind of start to be mindful, pay attention. Am I leaving room for someone else? Am I creating that space? Am I an interrupter, right? Like maybe I'm ready with my answer before you've ever finished your statement, and am I that kind of person? Can I slow myself down? And if I notice that that's what I'm doing all the time, do I need to go get some help to learn how to have that interaction more effectively?
Jen Hartstein, always great to have you. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
There is much more news ahead. You're watching NBC News Daily.